There is a golden opportunity happening for property managers right now, and it's the opportunity to newsjack the pain in the ecosystem based on this market volatility that just happened, that will continue to happen. And if there's one thing that I know how to do is I know how to insert myself into the conversation that's happening contextually to people's pains, and I know how to market. This is the best advice that I have for anybody right now. It's 20 minutes of just like, hey, what's happening, why it relates to you, how to take advantage of it, who else is doing it, and like a step-by-step initial guide that you can take next steps, plus an invite to do it with me, guided, and all this stuff. So listen to this for 20 minutes, and please, please, please take action at the end of this. Enjoy. Welcome to the Property Management Frame Breakers podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, and I am here to introduce you to the folks in the property management space that have broken the frame of what you may believe was possible. This podcast is presented by Vendoroo. It is your all-in-one AI solution for resolving your maintenance needs. Let's go. This carnage in the stock market right now feels very different for rental property investors. I literally just hosted a show on the Not Your Average Investor show, my other podcast, where we had buy and hold rental property investors, two of them, and myself, who also owns rental properties, come on and share our experience through it and what we're seeing. And what's obvious is that those of us that have real estate holdings are not suffering the same way that people are suffering in the stock market. And for that reason, I think this is a huge wake-up call for property managers to strike, to start marketing really, really loudly. Because as a marketer, right, like I obviously don't know your business as well as you know your business. What I do know is I'm somebody that studies human behavior obsessively and how to communicate obsessively. And there's an absolute truth in the fact that people run away from pain faster than they run towards pleasure. And when I look at most property management marketing, most real estate investing marketing, it's all about this upside, right? It's all about this idea that, this is where all the wealth is created. You get these like great returns and risk mitigation. You're talking about all these really, really nice things. But the truth is, it is so much easier to sell a painkiller than it is to sell a vitamin. And this market volatility that we just went through, this idea that markets drop like 10% across the board, NASDAQ down 20%, Dow down, like 2,000 points for the fourth time in history, this like losing of 6.6 trillion in 2 days, and then it coming right back based on like a fake tweet and then dropping again. And then now coming back again with this like 90-day pause, right? Like this sucks. This really sucks. People are in real pain. And when people are in pain, they are looking for ways to stop that. And what's happening right now is that we've just always trusted as Americans that, the stock market creates this like consistent thing that's less painful than real estate. But right now, there's a break in that trust. And there's a massive reallocation of trust on what people are believing. So, for property managers, right now is the opportunity to newsjack. And I believe that you're going to have that opportunity for the next 4 years. It's pretty clear, whatever your politics are, it's pretty clear that we are in a Twitter economy, right? Like a fake tweet of tariffs going away, brought the market back. Then all of a sudden they realized it was fake and went back down. Now, now another thing and it's real and we're back up, right? Like this roller coaster is something you can give people an off-ramp for. And you're going to have the chance to, dial into today's pain right now, right? And at the end of the day, like believe what you can believe. Like this is just the behavior that we're in right now, whether it's this administration or the next one. We are in this like Twitter economy, this responsive state. And something that we learned early on in the Not Your Average Investor show is that we haven't really priced in the risk of like all this interconnectivity, right? Like the Silicon Valley bank disaster, the Raging Kitty and the GameStop thing, it's doing weirder and weirder things in the stock market that people are going to continue to echo with this like pain of, right? Like some young risky people are going to want like the upside of it, but older folks in their like 30s, 40s, like myself, 50s, they were going to want off this roller coaster ride. So it's time to get in on this, right? Like there's a pending war with China coming, all these different things are happening. And at the end of the day, what do we know? We know that buying and holding rental properties over a long period is a certain path to wealth. It has its bumps and bruises. You know this as a property manager, but man, if there is anything more certain than single family homes or residential real estate right now in a world that is undersupplied, I haven't seen it. So this is what you offer. You as the property manager need to be in this mode right now that this is what you offer. You offer the off-ramp off of this roller coaster Twitter economy, painful ups and downs of what's going on in the world, and just knowing that your money is safe as long as you have a great partner, which is you. So let's talk about how we do that. You might be thinking that, what are you talking about, man? I'm just like, I just talked to accidental landlords and, it's all about showing them the returns. That is literally the same conversation that I had with Greg Cohen from JWB when I first started the Not Your Average Investor show, which is quite frankly, this thing that I've done with JWB, this Not Your Average Investor show, is the reason why you have heard of me, right? It's the reason why I keynoted NARPM Broker Owner last year and put me on the map when we created this like $40 million channel. And early on in our conversations was this: Pablo, we're just a property management company. Like, people just want to know that my returns are better than the next guy's and that my returns are XYZ, and that's what they care about. And I had multiple conversations with him saying, no, man, this is like late 2019. I'm like, no, man, you really need to tell a story. You need to tell a story about Jacksonville and how great of a market Jacksonville is. You need to tell a story about other people succeeding in this and showcasing them and proving that this is very real. And look how smart everybody else doing this is. And oh, by the way, you also have to tell a story of like how smart you guys are and how well connected you are to your ecosystem and how well you know your market. Took him a little while to trust, but long story short, here we are 5 years later. It's changed my life. It's changed their business. It's been written about in business books. And after keynoting NARPM, I realized that JWB isn't the only one doing this type of strategy, this like single market evangelism of the benefits of this thing, even before it was a painkiller, before it was like an off-ramp for this volatility, really, really works. I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, Mark Ainley with the Straight Up Chicago Investor podcast has done very well with a similar type of like podcast about the local market and who he knows and these kinds of things. Brandon Schulten, PMI, I think he's a key renter Denver, I believe he is. He's got a podcast called The Denver Landlord. Jennifer Rulins has now launched a podcast called Hold It with PM Jen. She's in the Pennsylvania area, right? Like, they are all evangelizing their market. They are all not just talking about the returns and whatnot. They're talking about the benefits of the asset class, the benefits of their market, the intelligent people that are doing this, their own knowledge, their team's knowledge, their strategic advantage to why this thing works, and it's working really well for them. And then there's other folks that they're not even doing a full podcast. They're just doing market updates, quarterly market updates, which is also something these folks do. Talk to Skylar Witt, who's doing that. Justin Anderson, you probably heard of him if you were at NARPM Broker Owner or NARPM Southern States, because he's developed these like really good economic reports. Right now is the time to make that to be visible, right? It's to like put that knowledge out there in juxtaposition to the pain in the stock market and the treasury yields and like all these other things that people are so used to that right now they're so uncertain of, and their trust is at an all-time low. It is the opposite for real estate. Trust can be at an all-time high for real estate right now as a juxtaposition to this other experience. And this is what I'm begging you to take action on, right? Like, newsjack the next 4 years. Here's a quick how, right? Like, if you believe that this is a good idea, it's really not as hard as you think. Many people come to me asking me, how do I make more content? I want to show up in my local market. I want to be an expert. I want to do these kinds of things. My advice is always the same. You need to create rituals around which they like forcing mechanisms that force you to speak your mind about what is happening. And, a quarterly market update is one of those things, but like a very easy weekly ritual is a podcast, right? So instead of thinking about this like giant audience, think of it as your ritual to like think intelligently and talk to somebody that you can bounce ideas off based on something that's happening, right? So what would a weekly podcast look like? It would look like you reaching out to your 10 most successful local investors and saying, hey, let's have a conversation around what has worked for you in real estate investing in this market, right? That's 10 episodes right there. Reach out to your 4 to 5 local realtor connections, people that are local area experts, and be like, hey, let's have a conversation around the local market itself and what's really, really working. Reach out to some of your vendor connections and like the mortgage person, right? Talking about mortgage rates. Reach out to your connection on insurance, talking about insurance rates in the local markets. Reach out to your builder connections, talking about builder prices, right? Like, think about it. We just described 3 months, right? Like if you can do 12 to 16 episodes, you have 3 to 4 months in the can of conversations that you can be putting out. How do you record these conversations? Easy. You can do it on Zoom and it auto records it. You can go meet them locally, set up your iPhone, record it, right? Like set up a couple lights for under $300. You can have these like super portable lights and this lavalier set for your iPhone, and you are off to the races being able to record that stuff, right? That is the input. Those are the subjects. We did a podcast with Mark Ainley, episode 3. If you want to hear his entire formula, he has these like content pillars where he talks to real estate investors about the biggest mistake they've ever made or like the biggest lesson, and that's the conversation. He also has local experts for different local regions of Chicago. That's a pillar of conversation. When news breaks, him and his co-founder, I think it's his co-founder, I believe it's his partner for sure, they'll just talk about the news, right? Like they'll just pop it on and have a conversation about the news. That works. They do the local update. They'll have subject-specific episodes like the mortgage person, the thing that I just told you, and it just runs itself. All you got to think about is who do I need to talk to about what instead of what am I going to say, right? That is way easier. So you set up that ritual. It becomes a forcing mechanism of you networking, building relationships, and creating that content. After that, that's when AI comes in, right? In order to go from like long-form podcast to short-form content, first of all, the long-form stuff, boom, you can just export it directly into Buzzsprout, which is this like podcast hosting platform that gets the distribution out. You can export it directly into YouTube. You have at the very least that. You can email and text those episodes to people with nothing else. But if you really want to expand the reach of this content, this is when AI comes in. Number 1, editing. There's a program called Descript, like description, but Descript. This program, when you upload, I'm literally recording into it right now. It's the best. It is editing for idiots. And trust me, I'm an idiot with this stuff and it works for me. But you upload this episode straight into Descript. Descript transcribes the episode and you are now able to edit the video the same way that you edit a Word document. Meaning, I can literally in the script tell it to take out all the ums and ahs. I don't do it because I feel like it sounds more natural if it's there. But if that's what your problem is, you can do it. You can Control F filler words. It'll find them, take them all out. What else can you do in the script? You can Control F whatever you want. Go find it. For example, if I wanted to Control F market meltdown in this thing because I want to make like a teaser reel, I can do that. It'll take me there. I can then read it, highlight it, copy, paste, and now I have my own little clip. It like is able to like just copy the words, paste it into its own video, and now you can make these like little social media videos that everybody really likes. There's a couple more advanced strategies of like uploading templates and whatnot, so it looks like, kind of like the things that you see out there. More on that in a second. But Descript is the ultimate video editor, content editor tool for people that don't like to edit, like myself. Even I can use it. beyond that, right? So that's step one of how AI can help you in this. Step two of how AI can help you in this, we got the transcription, right? You can take that transcription. You can pop that transcription into ChatGPT and put a prompt like, hey, I just recorded this episode about the market crashing and how this is a good time to be a property manager and record property management. Can you write a 300-word blog summary that will take property managers from thinking that this market thing doesn't relate to them to the idea that it's a golden moment in property management to go market? Here's the transcript. You pop it into ChatGPT, it's going to give you a pretty freaking good draft of what you've got. And as your prompt game continues, right? Like I did a past episode of our AI writing process. You can see it. It's probably about like 4 or 5 episodes ago. As your prompt game gets better, you can write better and better newsletters. You can use that in the same way to write like a blog post. You can use it in the same way to write on a small piece, like the captions. You can write social media posts alone off of it, right? It becomes this like infinite source by taking the transcript and working with it on ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use. Level 3 of how AI can help you in this process is the whole I don't have enough time. At the end of the day, the right AI, the stuff that we're building at Vendoroo, is not made to make you better at your job. It's made to replace you out of the things that you don't want to be doing. So if you are not looking at your AI stack right now and not thinking, what is out there that I can have AI just completely own it so it just gives me back 10, 15, 20 hours a week so I can go do this content, so I can go take advantage of this golden opportunity, then you're looking at AI wrong. It just is what it is. I'm seeing the advice out there in property management and AI. It feels like everybody's still talking about how to build better tools when in reality, the conversation has shifted. We showed up to NARPM broker owner. We showcased our agents. 76% of the hundreds of property managers that tested the agents told us it is an A level hire. 18% said B level hire. 6% said C level hire. Nothing else below that, right? But like if you are not using AI, stuff like Vendoroo, right? Like our clients will tell you that they spend less than 30 minutes on maintenance a day. So go do the math on how much you spend, how much brain space your team spends on maintenance. If you could reduce that to 30 minutes a day and use the rest of the time to like think about this moment to capitalize, this moment to market, this moment to take people from thinking that the stock market is their long-term solution to believing that real estate is the right long-term solution and you are the key for this, then you are like you are missing a golden opportunity, right? So like make sure that happens. Last but not least, I mentioned this, I think in our last podcast, but I am in the final stages of putting together a mastermind, a content mastermind. I'm teaching this formula to 25 property managers. We already have 12 people enrolled. I'm going to take you through like a 6-month process of how you develop this thing, how to position yourself correctly in the market, how to create the content stream, how to repurpose, how to use AI, how to use this in trade shows, the same stuff that I've been doing for years. I want to teach the market this thing because I think this is a really, really golden opportunity. It's going to be a 6-month program. It's going to be free. My only ask is that you take advantage of this thing and that one hour a month you give us feedback on the Vendoroo product, right? So you're going to be in this content mastermind, plus you're going to be in our advisory board for the product, whether you're a client or not, right? Like you don't have to be a client to do it. So if that's interesting to you, shoot me an email at pablo@vendoroo.ai and let's get you going. I'm going to launch this thing in probably about the next like 7 to 10 days. So I want to give priority access to you if you're listening to this podcast. That's it. This is, I hope that this shifted you into action. Like I really, one of the podcasts that one of the newsletters that we published not that long ago was about this like article called AI or Die by one of the partners at Sequoia Capital. And he started with this quote from world famous driver Justin Senna, whatever. I don't know who he is. Anyways, he's like a big Formula One driver, but he said, it's really hard to overtake 10 cars in a race, but in a rainstorm, it becomes a lot easier to do it. And I just really believe that right now we are in a rainstorm. the economy is. We are in a social, political level in this like rainstorm. Everything feels very uncertain. And the certainty of real estate is kind of like that calming thing. And add in this idea that, those that have first mover advantages on using AI, leveraging AI, have just an absolute unfair advantage over everybody else. So if you've got big plans, if you really want to grow, if you want to be the market leader in your market and really hit a couple of home runs here in the next 2 to 4 years, I really think right now is the time to act. Right now is the time to use AI to tame this like forever firefight of everything that you have to do so that you can break out of this like invisibility trap of only showing up when something goes wrong. You got to be out there proactively talking about the value of real estate, the painkiller of it all, right? Like this like off-ramp off the Twitter economy, the value of your local market, the value of your service and your local expertise. Just get out there, right? Make a name for yourself. And, content is the way to do it. So I really want to help you with that. Reach out to me, Pablo at Vendoroo.ai.